Let's go. All right, so we are starting our trip. We're on full self-drive version 13. Next week is a huge day for the FSD community because we're getting early rollout for version 14. It's supposed to be a massive upgrade, supposed to be a lot better. And I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. If I need to take over, I'm not going to cut the video or, act like this thing is perfect 100% of the time. I've been using it for 2 months now. And in the past 2 months, I've had to hit the brake and take over 5, maybe 6 times. As you can see, we're going on Main Street. Signals, turns, unbelievable. So let's talk about AI in general. And every time I'm on YouTube, I see a lot of clickbait, fear mongering about how, AI is gonna, take away all these jobs. Is it? Maybe. Who knows, right? But here's my opinion. So this goes back to the early 1900s, Manhattan, New York City, like late 1800s, very early 1900s. Horse and carriage, right? What did the horse and carriage create as far as economy for jobs? People who picked up horse shit every day, right? That was a job that no longer exists. Now, let's fast forward. The automobile came out in early 1900s, and at first, hey, we don't trust it. Why would anyone get a car when we have the horse and wagon? Anyway, as you can see, there's no more horses and carriages. There's no more jobs, people picking up horse shit, unless they work at a zoo or, there's a couple of horse cops left in New York City. So, yeah, but very few jobs remaining in that sector. So anyway, automobile came out, and what did that create? So, as far as jobs, it gave birth to mechanics, right? So mechanics weren't a thing until the automobile came out. And those are perfect examples of how technology gets rid of jobs and creates jobs. Now, what I do, I film for businesses, do their marketing. That wasn't a thing until YouTube, until social media. You didn't see people in the, unless they were in film or doing just, handy cam stuff for somebody's birthday. You didn't see people following around people for a living with a camera and editing and, photography at the level it's at right now. So the internet and the YouTube era and social media gave birth to a whole new sector of jobs. So, you can argue and say tech is going to replace jobs, but it also creates jobs. Now, that's scenario one. Another scenario is AI keeps advancing, robotics keeps advancing, and here's where it gets a little tricky, right? Now, AI will create a bunch of new jobs that we haven't even thought of yet, right? For humans. But what happens when you mix AI and robotics, like, Optimus, Tesla's Optimus, and they become so advanced that they can do anything a human can do. They can think better than us. They can perform manual labor better than us. They can invent because they're not limited to thinking, right? They have a whole database within seconds. They can, figure anything out. So as far as medicine and advanced medicine and cures for diseases, I mean, you're going to see in the next 10 years, you're going to see things that you never thought were possible in your lifetime. That's how fast things are going to go. So, yeah, there could be a scenario that plays out where, I mean, there's no need for us, right? If robotics gets that advanced, and that's scenario two, right? Like, they may slow down the innovation because of that reason. You're gonna see a lot of pushback in industries. Like, here's an example, like the docks, people who work doing cargo and stuff. They're going on. You'll see a lot of unions going on strikes because they're in fear of technology replacing them. Rightfully so, right? But what you have to take from that is that's going to create the demand for people to push them out quicker, right? Because if there's a threat, like, oh man, like they're going to go on strike, it's going to mess with the supply chain, and it's going to cause a million problems down the road. If I'm an innovator, I'm going to be like, all right, let's work harder, let's work faster, and let's get rid of these guys. And that's the truth. I mean, it's in the technology world, we're getting to the point where it's the Wild West. It's survival of the fittest. Like I said, these are all my opinions. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be right. But as of right now, I think AI in general is going to get rid of jobs and create new ones. But like I said, with robotics, hey, anything's possible. I don't know, right? I do know that chances are, if they just keep pushing it, they're gonna, who knows what they're gonna do with us. But a lot of people think they're safe because, people who, CEOs of AI companies come out and say, we're gonna create a universal base income. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think the people in power have a track record for just saying, oh, yeah, we're just gonna, let you guys live your lives, be happy, and pay you. You don't gotta do anything. That could play out. I could be wrong. Scenario two could be the top 1% says, hey, let's pack up our resources and go somewhere else, right? Could be, they can colonize Antarctica. I mean, you got Elon trying to colonize Mars. All I know is it's a 50-50 chance. They could use it for good, or they can be like, hey, we don't need people anymore. What are we doing? Let's pack it up. And they could figure it out on their own. And everybody's left, we're back in the Stone Age, fighting over scraps of food. So there's two scenarios that could play out. Those are just my takes and my opinion on, the current situation, the whole AI field. What do you guys think? I mean, am I crazy to think that way, or you think I'm rational, right? I'd love to hear what your opinions are. So, another question I've got asked is, hey, FSD, full autonomous driving cars, what's the future look like with that? And what do you think? You think it's going to take out Uber? Here's what I think. I think people who are currently driving Uber, they can adapt, they can, maneuver and go with the tides, right? Like if I was an Uber driver, I'd say maybe I should invest in a Model 2, which is a very affordable new Tesla that's coming out with FSD technology. Maybe, I should get out of my current vehicle and get the robotaxi option and, keep pushing. That's an option. Or you can sit on the sidelines and wait. See if you're still around. I wouldn't count on that because Tesla's going to put 1 to 2 million of these things in production every year. So they're going to flood the industry with robo-taxis, and as the tech advances, it's just going to get better and better and better, and it's just going to be a way of life. You have people saying, "Oh, I'm not getting in a car without a person in it. That's crazy." Do you know what they said about the internet? I'll never put my credit card information on the internet. That's crazy. Well, tell that to Amazon, because every second, thousands of orders are being placed on Amazon with credit cards. So that didn't work out, right? If you thought like that, people thought the internet was a fad. But what I can tell you is this is not, a fad. This is here to stay. This technology will first be in vehicles like mine. Eventually, it will go into semis for transportation jobs, shipping goods. And maybe they'll roll it out into public transportation, city buses, trains, I don't know. But I do know that they're working on it. I know for a fact they're working on the semi, the FSD semi, and that's about to roll out. That's going to disrupt a lot of, take away a lot of jobs if it's successful, which it's going to be successful. Because there's not... Given the amount of vehicles on the road, the problems you're hearing about, like every once in a while, it veered off the road, there was an accident. I mean, okay, how many DUIs do we have a day? How many texting and drive? I mean, look at all the distractions. People aren't even focusing on the road, They're probably, I would say 50% of the time, they're paying attention. So who do you trust? As you could see, I didn't touch anything. This thing has been driving itself. It's on the highway right now. And like I said, I'm being fully transparent. If I feel unsafe, I hit the brake and I take the wheel. Only complaint I have is, sometimes it gets a little too close to the cars that are in front of me. Other than that, on the highway, it's perfect. Also, parking lots, it gets confused sometimes. I don't use it in parking lots, right? When I get to my destination and it pulls into the to the parking lot, I immediately hit the brake, disengage, and park. But with version 14, I don't have to do that anymore. This thing is going to be press engage the FSD, hit the brake, and that's it. Nag time is going to be decreased, so how much it requires you to be attentive. Right now it's like, I think if you take your head away, like you look away for 3 seconds, it's beeping and telling you pay attention. That may reduce down to every 10 seconds. Because we're on the path to FSD fully unsupervised. That's where we're going in the next 6 to 12 months. That means you get in your back seat, you take a nap. When the car is parked, it'll notify you, wake you up like an alarm, and that's it. That's where we're going. That is the future. It's signaling, as you can see, getting ready to get off the exit. And me personally, I was at, for the longest, I was like, oh, Tesla, electric car, stupid, right? Until I went to the dealership and I was taken on a test drive. I said, it makes sense. Pay $100 a month for the FSD package. That's only going to get better. And it's like paying $100 a month for a chauffeur that drives you around. So I'm not complaining. Yep. Look at it. Next, I'm not sure when they're releasing Optimus. It could be the end of this year. I think it's Gen 3, right? There was rumors, they said between 20 and 30 grand. I think the first 2 generations are going to be, 100K. I don't think they're going to be 20 to 30K until they're able to scale and pump out a million units every year. And then prices will stabilize and they'll be much more affordable for the everyday person. And if I were you, I'd wait a couple of generations before I even think about purchasing one. I just feel like we're not there yet. I just don't think it can complete tasks that I would want it to at the current stage it's in to pay that kind of money, right? Like I want to come home and my Optimus greets me with a 5-course meal on the table. Like, hey man, check this out. Here's your, prime rib. You got a baked potato loaded with cheese, bacon, whatever I want, right? And all I got to do is send my Optimus a text message, right? It'll probably get it in its, in its software. Like, hey, I'll be home in 2 hours. And of course, be polite to your robot, because you never know, right? Could be Skynet. Tesla could be Skynet. And you wake up and your robot's tossing you a beating. That's another story. We'll have that another day. But yeah, I mean, until it's at that level and able to really make my life easier, then I'll invest in one. Because by that point, I'll have my Optimus sitting at a desk editing all my projects 24/7. Just being able to scale my business to a whole new level. And I think people don't understand like what these are going to be used for. It's going to be able to scale for the people who see it and understand the tech and embrace it. The people that fight it, by the time they wake up and like, oh, maybe I should invest in one, it's too late. So that's why I'm gonna hold off until the tech gets a little better, and then we'll revisit this conversation. I say by 2030. By 2030, I think I'll be ready for a Optimus robot in the household. Till then, just play it by ear. Right now, we are getting over, making a left. We're in Henderson, going to a good friend of mine. It's his son's 19th birthday. Pop in, see what's going on, and look, we're creeping up, and we're making that left. Look at this. Stays perfectly in the lane. Another thing that needs to improve is it doesn't use the microphone for emergency vehicles, so it doesn't pull over when like ambulances and stuff come. But that is getting fixed in version 14, and that's next week, early rollout. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm getting ready to pull up. That's going to be it for today.